Warning: the following program may contain material not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The borders of space and time have opened once again, and transmitting from the mountains of West Virginia, it's time once again for Let's Find Out with Diego. The universe is waiting for you. Wake up and remember.
On this episode of Let's Find Out, our guest writes pulp horror packed with cryptids, cursed bloodlines, and Appalachian legends that refuse to stay buried. His high-octane horror series launches with Cryptid Carl and the Hollow King. His writing, praised for its folkloric grit, cinematic pacing, and dark humor, draws inspiration from backwoods ghost stories and pulp thrillers. All this plus more. Please welcome new friend and first-time guest author, Waylon Graves. Waylon, my friend, welcome to Let's Find Out.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely, man. I actually, as we were talking before the interview, the pre-interview, I reminded myself that I actually met you probably like 2 or 3 months ago in Berryville, Virginia, at a Snarly Yow event. I don't know if it was halfway to Halloween or one of them, but that's when you and I actually had a conversation. And Cryptid Carl and the Hollow King just came out during that time, correct?
Yeah, I believe it came out in September, or that's when I started really pushing it.
So let's talk about this because so what gravitated you towards the subject of cryptids? Because sometimes horror and cryptids go hand in hand. Have you ever had a sighting, or do you know people that have had sightings, or is this something that you've been interested in for a long time?
It's something I've been interested in a long time. I've lived across the country, many places, and I've always found the stories involved around different locales very interesting, and something I really enjoy doing with my wife is we'd go on long hikes on mountains or in the forest, and then I'd start telling her about all of the creepy stuff that people report or people go missing in the woods and creeping her out. And so yeah, I kind of just collected a lot of cryptid stories over the years, and I kind of wanted to put my own spin on them and turn them into a fun story.
The woods are dangerous, man. Not
Yeah.
just for potential cryptids, but you got bear, you got coyotes, wolves, depending on what part of the country you're in. I mean, you got snakes, spiders, ticks.
Hell, running into a moose, that's probably the scariest thing I've dealt with.
So what did you do? Were you walking a trail and then came
Yeah, I
face to
was
face?
walking my dog with it was in Colorado. I was walking my dog out in the woods, and all of a sudden my dog is going crazy, and there's this giant moose right in front of us, and my dog, I'm thinking that it's going to murder my dog because it's just like running around in circles around this big moose, but it didn't want any part of us. It just kind of wandered away.
You guys like, this little dog here, I better get out of here. But no, I've seen moose before. You really can't appreciate how these creatures or how big they are in person until you actually see them. You see them all the time on television, but it's a whole different thing with that. So with obviously cryptids, they're a huge interest to many of the listeners, yourselves and myself included. When you were doing the research into the cryptids and incorporating them into your narratives, now did you stick with the established lore, or did you put your own spin on these creatures?
I definitely put my own spin on them. I wanted to respect the original stories, but I also wanted to kind of play with it a little bit, change it up, essentially go based off of the idea that people don't really know what they're seeing when they see a cryptid, and so most of the stories are maybe half true, and there's a lot more to them. So that gives me a lot of freedom to play with in the Cryptid Carl series.
And when did the idea for the series start? Were you reading books about this? Is something just popping in your mind and it's like, you know what? Let me write about cryptids.
I Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of a long roundabout story. It was the death of David Lynch. He really kind of popped in my mind when he died, and I ended up reading a few of his books. It was Catching the Big Fish and Room to Dream, where he was really focused on like getting people to follow their artistic dreams, and that's what led me to take things more seriously. I've been kind of in the tech space with my uh, day job, so I really put in a focus on um, following my writing and my artistic passions. From there, I decided I was going to do an animated show or movie, um, and so I wrote a manuscript based on cryptids. It was largely the kernel of the idea was Ash versus the Evil Dead or Army of Darkness meets Pokemon in West Virginia. Um, so
No, I love Army of Darkness. So
yeah, so that was kind of the basic idea. I wrote a manuscript off of it, and then I realized that it would take years just to create the pilot episode of the series. So I just decided I was going to turn it into a book and have the actual manuscript be the final product. Um, and now I have a plan of 6 books for the series at least, and it's kind of feels like it's writing itself. I don't know.
well, in a way, there's so much source material you can draw from, especially cryptids. Not only just in the United States, in Appalachian itself,
Oh yeah,
there's so many twisted tales that you could probably do 12 books in the series or keep going on and on till the end of days.
oh yeah. I'm writing it to be more like a pulp serial, where we have our main hero who gets dragged through the mud, beaten, tortured, and keeps on coming back for more.
So we're getting into Cryptid Carl and Hollow King.
Hmm.
Let's go a little back in time a little bit before you even started writing this book. What kind of projects were you involved with before then? Have you always been an author, or is kind of something that you stumbled into?
It was more of something I stumbled into. I've wrote some manuscripts in the past, worked on a lot of short films, both animated and live action. I've participated a little bit in like 48-hour film festival. I used to um, be I used to do a lot in the advertising space for a lot of different companies, but now I'm my day job is purely in software, so really just focusing on um, my artistic and writing endeavors lately has been um, very helpful with my sanity.
Oh, I understand. You got to have the projects because you're talking about work. Even while I'm at work, I can function okay,
Yeah.
but I'm always thinking about what guest I'm going to have next, what subject I'm going to cover. I have sticky notes. I keep them all over my monitors, right? I have 6 monitors at work. And anytime there's an idea, I write it down, put it there so I don't forget to take it home with me.
Hmm.
And I mean, I don't know how it is with you, but if I don't write it down immediately, it'll be just the thought bubble just disappear into the universe.
Yeah, I have like 4 notebooks full of odd drawings and ideas scattered all over the place. And every few weeks, I kind of rip them out and shove them all together and try to make sense of them.
That's a great strategy, man. I should do the notebook, but I don't want the boss saying, "What are you doing?" No, it's just little notes. It looks like little notes I leave for work. Like I got the to-do list.
Yeah.
Not so much, really. So let's get to it. Who is Cryptid Carl?
He's a backwoods West Virginia hillbilly. He's essentially a cryptid hunter. He essentially, in his youth, he came upon a cryptid that kind of changed his life, and from there, he's been kind of dealing with a curse of some sort where he's essentially in charge of or cleaning up the mess of um, his family in order to essentially save and protect cryptids. That is essentially the premise of who he is.
And talking about, well, because you also talk about cursed bloodlines as well. So you add a little more flavor to the story. What is the story behind the cursed bloodline? And that's so terrifying about that.
So the story is the main big bad of the story is essentially a parasitic force kind of infesting itself through West Virginia and Appalachian in general. But it's directly tied to his family lineage. Um, I'm not sure I can go in far beyond that without ruining the first half of the book.
No, I don't really want you to spoil it either.
Yeah.
But we want to when I ask these questions because I believe the listeners of the show will want to be enticed to definitely read it because a lot of them very, very interested in cryptids. So let's talk about some of the cryptids that make their appearance in your book, if you don't mind. Is that okay to talk about? Because
Yeah,
I don't.
absolutely.
So from the top, who are the ones that are hanging out there so far in that universe?
So the first one we'll run into, or at least the first one to be hunted, is Mothman. It shows up uh, in West Virginia again. It creates a bunch of havoc, and so Carl's big mission in the first part of the book is to find and capture Mothman and keep him out of both protect the local community as well as save Mothman. Um, we also encounter Indrid Cold, Squonk, the Snarly Owl. A more niche cryptid is a version of Bigfoot that was spotted in Canada called Yaya, or the Yellow Top, essentially a blonde Bigfoot. We also encounter the Snollygaster, the Grafton Monster, Sheep Squatch, and I kind of combined the Hopskin Goblins with Tommyknockers, and we also encounter the Thunderbird.
As you're saying that, I'm looking to my right because I actually have a poster on my right. I'm not going to move the camera right now.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, you hit about 90% of what's up here right now.
Who else
Now,
do we got?
yeah, well, let's see here. So there's Flatwoods. You got Sheep Squatch,
Oh, yeah.
White Fangs, Ogua, Winfred the Water Horse, and of course Grafton. You mentioned Ingrid Cold because I'm thinking nobody really talks about Ingrid Cold, although depends on who you talk to. I had an interview a few months ago that the guy's pretty a big player in the UFO community,
Right.
but you only really hear one story about a guy that he encountered in a highway. I don't know,
And
was it in the 60s or 50s?
I believe it was the 50s. It happened right around the time the sightings of Mothman. And the guy who talked about Indrid Cold, he had a lot of encounters with him apparently, and some of them Indrid had other people with him or alien um, other alien passengers with him. One of which was named Carl.
Ah, look at that. That's awesome because my opinion on Ingrid is, of course, more of a UFO based character or cryptid, we'll call it. And also, there's another one too. Not on my poster, and I don't know if you mentioned it in your book, but you're talking about Vegetable Man. You've heard that one?
I have heard of him. He is not in this one, but he is something that I find interesting.
I do too. I think when I read about the story about the guy who was bow hunting, I think he was bow hunting for gophers or what are those other ones? They're not gophers. What are they? The
Groundhogs?
groundhog hunter or something. Bow and arrow in the woods, and then he encounters this vegetable man looking thing and then invites him, hey, I'm not going to hurt you. I need your help. And then next thing you know, his fingers were kind of like, not, I wouldn't say needles, very sharp, and just puts his hands on the guy and drains his energy or blood. I don't know. It's something along those lines. And you never hear from Vegetable Man again. I'm thinking it was more of a vampire-ish characteristics, being that he drew the guy into the woods, took his energy or blood, and just took off. I don't know, because Maybe another UFO and vampire connection. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too deep here, Waylon. I ramble.
Oh, is there a UFO connection with Vegetable Man, or is he just a creature? I don't know. I don't know enough about him.
I tend to look at it more of as a vampire-ish
Okay.
characteristics, but I'm thinking more UFO. I don't know. West Virginia and UFOs. There's more than Bigfoot in West Virginia, you know.
Oh yeah.
Especially talking about Ingrid Cold as well, because you kind of now have me and my brain spinning a bit. I'm gonna do more research on Ingrid. Yeah. So when you did your research on these cryptids, there's hundreds of them.
Absolutely.
So which one were best qualifiers to put in a book for you?
It's largely just what I think fits for the story, as well as popularity. Like with this first book, I really wanted to make sure I get the big hitters like the Flatwoods Monster, Mothman, the and the, our Bigfoot creature, who isn't quite Bigfoot. I wanted to make sure I hit the big three, so people would be interested, and then kind of dive deeper into the more niche or rare cryptids.
Yeah, because honestly, between you and me, probably hundreds of listeners, maybe thousands if I'm lucky. No, I'm kidding. There's a whole new world just outside the Mount Rushmore of cryptids. That you talk about a creature, kind of like Bigfoot, not Bigfoot. I recently found out about one not long ago. I think it's around in Pennsylvania, the apple snatcher.
I don't know that one.
It's called the Albin Witch, but it's I think it's a Dutch, one of those European words, and it's like a little fella, but he's out there stealing apples from people or
Little
from
goblin.
trees. Is yeah, maybe something like that. But the description of him was more of a Bigfoot like, kind of like Shaka from Land of the Lost.
Hmm. Okay.
But it was I stayed up so late one time. I was actually writing a couple of articles, and I heard about some of these cryptids, and that's how I found out about Vegetable Man and Ogua and all of them.
Mhm.
So much material out there, that you can tell the tales forever. How's the book been doing so far? Because I know you've been putting in a lot of work and doing the signings. How's the feedback so far?
The people who are reading it seem to really enjoy it, and I'm really happy about that. It's when I wrote it, I didn't really know anything about publishing, designing books, doing any of it, doing going to vendor events, anything. So it's all very new to me. We got the website up. I'm starting to do more and more vendor events. So right now it's getting good praise for those who are reading it, and now I'm just trying to get more eyes on it.
And I'm glad you mentioned the website, because we're going to mention that towards the end of the show.
Sure.
The cover of the book is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Now, I do have a book too, so I got an alternate cover. Did you do two covers on purpose?
Mostly I'm testing stuff out. It was my first time writing and publishing a book on KDP, so I put out a cover that I thought would work, and then it wasn't quite getting interest, so I tried another one. Now I think I'm going to be doing a third cover that kind of incorporates both aspects of it, just so it works better in thumbnail. Apparently, making book covers is largely about the thumbnail right now. It has to look very good and very clear within like 100 pixel wide image. So
It's the same thing with podcasting and thumbnails for the episodes on YouTube or Spotify. They want you to draw that attention, but I'm not that artistic. I do the best I can,
Mhm.
but I know about having different versions of a cover, because I've done it differently for different guests where I think it's going to work, and I just start all over again, do it all over. But in a way, it might work out for you, because if people are buying the physical copies and they want to have all the covers, you're kind of making them kind of like a collector's edition.
yeah, that's true. For the series, I do want a consistent theme or design for each of the books. But yeah, I have two different covers right now, and I'm planning on doing the third. I actually have a third designed that I think I'm going to do a little bit more design work on the inside of the book. Just I've had a little bit of a complaint as far as like size of the font. Apparently, some of the people want a larger font, so I'll be playing around with that a little bit.
I understand. I have it here because I have some extra Hubble telescopes glasses that I wear, so the fonts work for me. So I'm not gonna lie to you, but as you were talking about, here's the one that I have right here.
Yeah,
And,
that's the first cover.
actually, it was the day I met you, and no, it was a good day, and I really appreciate you talking to me and agreed to be on the show. So
Yeah.
I know that 2025 is ending. What other events do you have this year?
Right now, I just have the Cryptid Halloween. That's the only one I have planned right now, and I'm hoping to get more on the schedule later on when I put out the second book.
And being a self-published as you are, and you're trying to figure out that KDP and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like me, everything's self-taught. Nobody really taught me how to do any of this. Can you tell me your experience so far learning this stuff by yourself?
Yeah, it's kind of been a fun little adventure. I've probably been spending more money than making, but I like getting
Yeah.
I like getting people's eyes on it. I'm hoping even if I lose money on this book, I get enough people to actually enjoy the series to continue on as I put out more. But yeah, it's been an adventure just trying to figure everything out. I got into the Twitter book community, which has been interesting. I'm not sure if that's a great space for actually getting readers. So it's largely the big issue has been just finding an audience, and social media has been um, interesting. Like I kind of ignored social media for a long time. Like I used to really enjoy it, and then I stopped using it, and now I don't really know how to get engagement. So I've been testing stuff out. I think Instagram is working out more for me now than Twitter, but yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of experimenting right now.
I completely understand that. When I first started podcasting, 90% of the guests that I received that I got were through Twitter, then, of course, X. And then I ventured out into the Instagram universe,
Right.
which helped out as well. And then, of course, Facebook. But it's funny because sometimes one platform is doing really well, then it's dead. Then the next one's doing really well and it's dead. You kind of have to juggle all of them in order to generate interest in what it is you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a struggle. I can really respect what you're doing because it's tough out there. It's a lot of competition, but you and I, we believe in what we do, and it's going to show in our work.
Oh yeah, it's one of those funny things where everybody, like everybody knows people who want to write books, and so when you write your first one, you feel really accomplished. But then you just enter into a world where everyone it has written a book, and so then you're competing with those people, and so it's just kind of funny where you're always kind of entering into this new group of people, and yeah, I'm not sure where I was going with that. But.
I don't know. I know exactly where you're going with that. It's like I said, the struggle is real when it comes to with authors and podcasters as well. Now, let's get to this part where what do you hope the readers take away from Cryptid Carl and the Hollow King? So what kind of experience are you aiming to create for them?
It's a spooky pulp adventure. Like I just really want you to have fun. But the other thing about it is I kind of tie in a lot of West Virginia history. I play with it a little bit. I fudge timelines to make everything fit. But like in this first one, there's a lot of influence from the Cold Wars back in the 20s. That plays a fairly large part in how this world kind of gets set up. And so each book is going to kind of reveal a little bit or talk a little bit about kind of the hidden real history of West Virginia.
It's endless history. I just learned some stuff myself the other day. And we'll get together offline one day. We'll talk about it.
Sure.
And then we'll trace some notes, of course. Now, outside of the cryptid universe, down the line, if you were to switch gears and write about something completely different, I'm not saying that you need to, because you're doing a great job, what would you write about?
I have the start of 13 stories right now. Planning on releasing the second Cryptid Carl book, I'm hoping in January. And then I'm going to be doing 3 shorter kind of novelettes or novellas in 2026. So one is a straight up horror. No funny absurdness. It's just a horror story. Then one is an absurd kind of parody. It's literally the title is Parody Fodder instead of Harry Potter. So it kind of makes fun of my time in on the West Coast in Oakland, California, in San Francisco, and kind of shines a humorous light into kind of the darker sides of those areas. And then I have one other story that I would be releasing in 2026, which that is another horror story, kind of a psychological horror. And then I have at least 3 more like full-size novels outside of Cryptid Carl that I am interested in doing. 3 standalones that stretch from kind of thriller mystery through science fiction and even mythic kind of epics. So I'm kind of running the gamut.
You're not sleeping at all. That's what I'm hearing here. But that's great. So now for the ultimate question, the coup de grace, if you will, where can our friends, the listener, find Cryptid Carl and connect with you online?
You can find me on waylongraves.com and find Cryptid Carl at cryptidcarl.com. And I'm on X and Instagram at Waylon Graves Art. And you should find me there. I'd love to hear from you.
Excellent. And I'll be seeing you in a little less than a week at Cryptid Halloween, Snarly Owl's yearly event. And I really appreciate you being on Let's Find Out. I look forward to having you back next year.
All right. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend.
Copyright Diego the Podcaster. All content for Let's Find Out is the property of Diego the Podcaster and is served directly from our servers with no modification, redirects, or rehosting. All celebrity impersonators are paid performers. The impersonated celebrities do not endorse or promote any views or opinions expressed by our guests, Diego the Podcaster, or Let's Find Out. The information shared on Let's Find Out with Diego is provided on an as-is basis, with no guarantees of completeness, accuracy, usefulness, or timeliness.